Greetings everyone, here's Lodrik, and this is a game War in the Pacific, Helmets Edition. This is my play by email match against AsuRob, he's Allied Commander, and for me it is the Empire of Japan. This is scenario 50, a mod scenario, and game version 26B, extended map, stacking limits, and yeah, I just took the British base back in north of Thailand. But there was no fight, and that is really only a skirmish party. None of us have really invested anything in the Burma front so far. At least no active. I have only my Thai forces waiting in Bangkok if there's a British attack coming early on. And I use the time to train up my Thai forces because they are not really useful early on. So no submarine activity, no Navy engagement again. Yesterday I scored a small hit against a cargo ship Norfolk Island, but I also lost one of my Emilys. Let's see if there's any Navy strikes today. First some ground attack. I use here also my Oscars. They're only carrying 15 kilogram bombs. Normally that is nothing, but they still create damage. So if you have really not enough bombers and you have some fighters left, you can use them always at fighter bombers. Here the same. No primary Navy target, and I go for land attack. And there was a lot of destroyed equipment. The Dutch forces have all no supplies and dying. And my tanks still trying, and they're doing not bad, but also no real success. Bombardment at Bataan. There's not more much AV left for the Americans, Filipinos, but I don't want to trash my forces, so I take it slowly. And I also rush out of Palembang. And this attack failed a little. Don't know why. Luckily it's only disabled, but it's maybe faster that I bring my unit back to Singapore, heal, and then come back again. You see. Landing party, taking here and defended base, so I can unload here much more heavy equipment early on, or without any issues. And that was a turn. So a very light, soft turn, nothing special here today. Because there's not anything special, I can maybe use the time to check something else. So air losses today, Allies lost 4 aircraft, all ops losses. But we can also check now maybe what is total losses here again for me. I lost 125 aircraft so far, mostly fighters and a lot of Navy search. Torpedo bombers, Betty bombers, or Navy bombers. So Navy, 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 Navy. The first 4 are all Navy. So same issue like with scenario 1, you're losing. I mean, percentage wise, this is, I don't know, 80% Navy pilots or aircraft lost. But this is again only, of course, aircraft loss. This means not pilot loss, but There's a relation. And then the rest is all more or less army. So at the end, yeah, it's okay. I try to minimize my losses and still try, minimize my own losses and inflict casualties on the other side. And for the allies, mostly fighters are lost. Buffaloes, these are British Buffaloes. American P-40s, these are also American P-40s in China service. Well, let's see, this is Flying Tigers. So 120 P-40s together, roughly the same amount of British pilots, fighter pilots lost. And other equipment. Other equipment, maybe you can see that there's a lot of B-17s D. So this is the early edition, long range edition. I think this is all related to my fast takeover in Mindanao. And maybe trashing a lot of aircraft in Clarkfield. And yeah, also amount of Wildcats getting destroyed, different kinds, the normal F and then the A edition. I think they one have 4 guns, other one have 6 guns. And other equipment, this is all small fish here. Of course, the kill ratio is now roughly 6-1. That is good. More important for me at the end is how many pilots I lost, and then you can see it's only in total 52. Well, I put some wounded in, so 55 pilots are dead or lost. That is roughly 50% of my loss. I would simply or often over, to make it a very easy, 50% is a ratio of killed pilot to lost airframes often. If you fight over enemy territory. If you fight over your own base, this is maybe scaled down to 10 to 20% of your pilots lost. Also, if you have armor or not. So I try to always fly aircraft as soon as possible with armor, because this will give your pilots a higher chance to survive. I don't know, I can also check the reinforcements, but I don't really care this too much, because what will arrive I simply can use. Group reinforcements for aircraft. So I don't know, there is maybe a variation to the scenario 1 stuff, but how strong and great the difference is, I don't know. Maybe this is more or less like scenario 1. You can see that I really don't care too much. I think top pilots. No, this is also in my pool. Maybe you also can talk shortly about the pool, because this is a mod game. You have a different setup here. You get here the replacement is higher. I think in scenario 1 it's 100. Maybe this is the same. I'm not more sure. But you get only 150 Navy pilots. Here you get 200 Navy pilots per month. So 200 to 200. This is still far less than the Allies get, but you get more Navy pilots at least. And on top, the Navy pilots have much better training. Again, because this mod is the Navy invest much more in their Air Force and Navy ships, in Navy Army forces, or the assault divisions and all of this stuff. So the Army don't really get a big boost in this mod. It's more or less that only the Navy part of Japan get better stuff. And my pool is empty, because I call in all of my pilots on the map to give them additional training and skills. This is experience. Often experience is also the base skill level, but don't must be. Good, and I don't really have much reserve so far. You can see my reserve is very empty. I have more or less only recon pilots. Well, I changed some of my recon air wings to bomber pilots or something like this. So I have them left here. And so, because reserve, Status okay. Yeah, this is all okay. Trapcom, nah, no one. Group. I have no one any. Ah yeah, here are my wounded pilots. So I have here 4 wounded pilots, 1 is coming back. This one can also go back. This one can go back. And this one can go back. Oh, so all wounded pilots will come back. Fine. I must do this. Sometimes. Once per month or every 2 weeks maybe I can check here. Good. Ships. Let's first maybe check what is under construction. So how I handle this. You can still see here also there's a little difference to scenario 1. I get more. I think the Navy shipment is bigger. Original in scenario 1 you have 1,400, 1,450, something like this. So I get here 200 up to 300 more Navy shipyard points per day I can use to build ships. Merchant shipyard is, I think, more or less the same. And that sounds first good, and it is good. Only issue is you have also more ships you can build. Carrier wise, it's maybe not more, but they are more expensive. That is again related to if your other type of ships. Unio, Helio, they are the same, so they're not more expensive. What is more expensive is the main and the support carrier. I think they are. Scenario 1 you have I think one carrier cost is 66, 64. Here they cost 90. But you also get for this a first class carrier and not a medium sized carrier. So this is a full fleet size carrier. I mean, the fleet size carrier is now 75. In scenario 1 you get this medium sized carrier with a size of I think 63 aircraft. So a dozen more aircraft, but the price of the ship is at least 50% more. Of course, and Taiyo is also not a Taiyo class, they are all Shukaku Kai. Shukaku Kai means more or less upgraded Shukaku class, Shukaku Plus, something like this. Of course, this carriers have protected at least against 500-pound bombs. But I think the real Taiyo have I think more deck power or deck armor. So a 1,000-pound bomb will always penetrate this deck. But you have protection against destroyer guns, you have protection against 500-pound bombs. And more you can simply not ask here. And you get here the good 10cm guns plus a lot of radar. And of course you have endurance. But this ship is simply much more heavier. 26,000 tons to in scenario 1 the Unio class carriers I think around 17,000. I think they pay, yeah. Good, so and the support carriers, and also what is new, you get here this higher top speed of 10, not 9, and higher cruise speed of 5 and not 4. And the support carriers are similar, they are better than what you get in scenario 1. They don't reach the top speed, but they have the good cruise speed. And for me, cruise speed is more important than top speed. Because with Japan and running on full speed, you burn so much fuel so fast. So that is more or less like run away in very special situations, but don't try it too often. Overall, these carriers are fine. So you have 50% of the carrier capacity to a full fleet carrier, the same speed, the same endurance. Of course, less protection, less firepower, but not so bad firepower, I would say, and radar is also there. And the price is also roughly, nearly scaled down 1-to-1. So but you don't build any escort carriers, only one. Good, so what I built is, at the end, you can see, I go from the latest carrier, push them, and what is coming early, I don't push. Before, I always make the opposite, but now I try the other way. I want to get all my carriers normally by summer of 43 and have them everything on the map, or not getting 2 carriers early on and then wait for everything else. It's simply only how you want to do it. So battleships, again in this scenario you have this battle cruisers, or yeah, I think they call this here cruiser large, but this is a battle cruiser. I mean 30,000 tons is battle cruiser, and this is more or less like a Congo Kai, but naja, this is of course not more a Congo ship, but they have the same guns, and but they have triple guns here. So they are looking good, but I really don't know what is the purpose, because again, these ships with 190mm armor belt cannot withstand 14-inch. So they are really cruiser killers. This is, I think, the cruiser killer class, but this is like Alaska class cruisers, the American build. They are only good in killing enemy treaty cruisers. But for anything else, they are too expensive, have too much value. They cannot take on battleships. So I don't know if it really makes a lot of sense. Have them early on, yeah, but later with so much air power, I don't know. This ship will never survive any real air attack. 125mm deck armor, I don't know if this is enough to withstand a 1,000 pound bomb. And then you have your battleships here, and yeah, I stop them all. Again, I save these points to push for carriers and destroyers. And if a ship is in May of 43, I want to get these ships all ready in April, May of 43, something like this. That I can use them to, I don't know exactly for what I will use them, but they're simply too expensive to build now. At least from my point of view. In the cruisers, you can also see similar stuff. I have not simply enough points to build all of this, or I cannot push them. So I really let them run and build more or less on normal speed and push only carriers and destroyers. These are also the better light cruisers. And I also don't first realize this. I must compare this with scenario 1. Because if you see here this layout, and if I remember right, this ship had only 2 triple gun mount in the front. First and second mount. That is the first 2. But here in this mod, there's also a rear gun mount. You cannot see it in the graphic, and I only see it here. This must be rear side. I don't know exactly how this works. This is right side. How there can be a third triple gun mount. Because this is right side and left side. So, but where is this gun? I don't know. If it's maybe only a display bug, could be also that this is not a real gun. Because, but yeah, we will see. I must get this ship in real battle, surface battle, to see how the ammunition counter will go down. Then I get a feedback if this is how this works and how this is intended to work. But that will give this ship much more firepower, at least on paper, to have not only 2 triple, and now we have not 6 barrels, now we have 9. This would upgrade this ship much more. Especially this is a light cruiser and destroyer killer guns. These shells can penetrate, I think, 100mm belt armor, so they can also take on heavy cruisers. Of course, they are a little paper thin. They cannot withstand 6-inch shells, I think, will penetrate this. Good, and all of the other heavy cruisers you build here is always the Tone class, so again, they are the best heavy cruisers the Japanese have, and if the Japanese build 8 of them, would be nice. You have all the firepower in the front. Not so totally crazy overloaded. You have only 8 guns now, and I'm still a fan of triple guns. I would simply say give 2 triple guns is also enough firepower. But yeah, but the main focus is here normally on speed, range, scout capacity, plus armor protection. So I think tone class cruisers are really good. They're a good balance. But yeah, and they can hunt submarines. Great. Good. And for the destroyers, like always, in this case I have so many destroyers coming now that I really say, okay, I only push the flag destroyers to get more of my 10 centimeter barrels for anti-aircraft equipment. And yeah, because this guy's in this mod, this is a realistic speaking, this 12 or this 5-inch guns don't really can do any anti-aircraft equipment. On paper they are dual-purpose guns, but they cannot shoot down any aircraft. So you have not so much firepower for anti-aircraft. I think this type is maybe dual-purpose, but not everyone has this. Many of the older ones don't have this. And I get here more and more destroyers, so I also must choose what I want build and what I don't want build. And for submarines, everything is stopped. I don't build submarines. Too expensive, 33 points for one stupid submarine, what will never really do anything for me. And latest in 43, they're useless. Good, so far for this stuff, and I think this was only a short overview. Maybe I can also shortly say the situation of, because this is a mod, again, you have not much to use, so you must be careful where you invest what. And I am going down day by day with less and less resources. I get not enough resources to the home islands up to now, and I really ship what is possible as soon as possible, but I'm losing resources day by day. But the supply situation is now slowly stabilizing. But I still have also not enough supplies. It's still a critical phase. Between mid of January to mid of March is always a critical phase, at least in my games, that I have to be careful where I invest what. And I invested a little more in vehicles. I invested, of course, heavily in engines where it makes sense. I will try to get the 500 pool points, but I need to push still a little more. But I will get the 35 engine normally soon. 32 will be soon. 33 I need, and of course I also need 34. So in the next 2 months I need all of this 500 pool points. Aircraft wise, Zeros, torpedo bombers, dive bombers, all this stuff what you need, and also a little more Oscars, because I think Oscar 1C is at least in the first 6 months of the war okay. Will not win the war, but is okay. Good. And A&D wise, so roof fighters, this is a Navy 0, oh no, this is a carrier 0 pass, and this is a land-based 0 pass. In this mod you have these two. One is ready to launch from carriers, this will go to A6, M5, M8, and this will go to the G road. G is more or less land-based, cannot operate from carriers. The torpedo bombers, dive bombers. Here it makes sense to go for the M3, not because you won't get the M3, but you can get the M3Q, and the Q is the Sub Hunter edition. Whoa, yeah. A lot of Tojos, and here I also skip the Oscar. I don't push the Oscars in this game. In my Xargun game I go strong on Oscars, and here I say no, Oscars don't need. Here I go more or less for Tojo plus Tony, because in the Tonys in this mod much better than the original scenario 1. Or better to say, the tone in this mod is realistic. In scenario 1, it's debuffed. I don't know why, but make no sense to use Tony in scenario 1. And I have also here the Nick. Make also no sense in scenario 1 to push for Nick. But here you have the Nick D and E. And I want to try them out. On paper they look a little better. I'm not so sure, but we will try. And the rest is all fine. And yeah, and this mod also has George heavily. Because George will be carrier based. And then if I have a carrier based George, I don't need more the A7. Make no sense. They are 99% similar. So, and if I have a good George, I have everything what I need. But again, the George also has the land base and the carrier based edition. They will split up after the first frame. Good. See you next time. Take care. Bye bye.